In this episode of Nightmare Echoes, Eleazar and Margo return to Sam Raimi's Evil Dead franchise by covering Evil Dead 2: Dead by Dawn. Next episodes on the podcast are Inferno, Ready or Not, Five Nights at Freddy's, and The Blair Witch Project, so please subscribe to not miss any of those. Also, if you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review as it really helps the podcast to grow. Now for the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Nightmare Echoes. I'm joined again by Margo. Margo, how's it going?
Hello. Going good, I guess.
All right, so today we're covering Evil Dead 2. We're continuing on this Sammy Raimi movie train ride. It came out in 1987. It also went by the name on some services as Evil Dead 2: Dead by Dawn. Like, that's what my copy says.
You know, it's so funny because when they said Dead by Dawn, I was like, why didn't they call it that?
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah, well, when I load it up on my streaming service, it says Evil Dead 2: Dead by Dawn, which is funny. Again, directed by Sam Raimi, starring Bruce Campbell. We get Sarah Berry as Annie, Danny Hicks as Jake, Denise Bigsby as Linda this time. They had to recast her because the original Linda actress was pregnant. Cassie DePaglia as Bobby Joe, and she's famous for being in a lot of soap operas to this day. That's just where she found her niche. The movie starts with a voiceover talking about the Book of the Dead, and how it has a passageway between worlds.
I think they do name it the Necronomicon in this one.
Yeah, right. Necronomicon Ex Mortis. And it says that the book was written a long time ago when the seas ran red with blood, and that blood was used to ink the book, and then it disappeared somewhere around the year 1300 AD.
Yeah, everybody remembers that. You know, everybody remembers that time when the seas ran red with blood, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, that's funny because I think of Aztec, like in the pyramids, like the sacrifices they did, but would that have been where the book was?
I don't know. There's no, I mean, I don't know if the seas were running red with blood. But.
Yeah. True. And then we get this title card, Evil Dead 2. We get a flashback, sort of. So Sam Raimi wanted to make the sequel. He kept trying to seek out a lot of buyers or a lot of people to invest in it, and no one wanted to do it because his original idea was to make the sequel straight to the medieval times one. Mm-hmm. He wanted to make Army of Darkness right away, and no one wanted to do it. But Stephen King actually wrote a review on how much he loved the original Evil Dead. It was a few years later. People hearing that Stephen King loved it were like, okay, we'll give you the money, but we don't want this Evil Times thing. We want you to make a movie like the last one. Make a sequel to the first one, but make it pretty similar to the first one. So they went and they made the concept for Evil Dead 2, which was going to set up for the movie for Army of Darkness. But when they went to go show the flashback, they found out that they could not use the rights to the original movie. That the studio that owned it, who was not participating in Evil Dead 2, would not let them use that footage. So they couldn't use Linda because she was pregnant. So they tried to do the first movie really quickly in like 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. And they played through the whole thing.
Yeah, except it's only Ash and Linda.
It's just Ash and Linda. She already has the necklace this time. On the way there, when she asked about the cabin, she asked what if the people return who own it? And he's like, oh, we'll just say my car broke down.
Yeah, are they just stealing this cabin?
They're breaking and entering.
How did they know it was there?
I don't know. Because in the first one, they rented it.
Yeah.
And in this one, they just, we're going to go to this cabin. But this has confused fans for a long time because if you don't know the backstory, you're like, why would he go there again?
Yeah.
Or why would he not remember that he went there before?
Yeah. Well, then Linda was dead too. So was she resurrected? Or he just found another girlfriend named Linda and gave her the same necklace?
Oh, that is so possible. The evil comes after Linda again in this one. We see the tape. We set up the tape player again. This time, Professor Raymond Noby, who is in the Department of Ancient History, is speaking about this voyage to the Castle of Condor, where him, his daughter Annie, and an associate professor Ed went there. His wife Henrietta was there as well. And in the back of the castle, that's where they found the Book of the Dead. And the professor brought it to that cabin to study. During the tape, he talks about how it has possessed his wife. His wife has tried to kill him. And while listening to this tape, we see the evil coming. It breaks through the window where Linda is. It stills Linda. Ash breaks into the room to find that Linda's gone.
Call back. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think it's a callback, but Linda screams. Yeah. And Ash is like, Linda? Again, just like, why are you guys reacting so calmly to these like blood-curdling screams? But he was a little quicker than last time, just kind of moseying on in, like, let me go check it out.
So outside, he gets into a fight with Linda, who's now a deadite. He's thrown to the ground. She jumps towards him, and he grabs a conveniently placed shovel on the ground to decapitate her right away.
It's a real sharp shovel.
Right?
Just whee, off it went.
So then he buries her. He puts this gigantic cross.
Linda flies through the air at one point, does she do that? Or is that was that one of the other girlfriends that like leaped through the air on the last movie?
I'm not sure.
I think it was Linda.
Yeah.
Whee! You're like hands first, like woo.
So he buries her. He has the necklace in his hands, and we see that it's a full moon. And the evil is coming for him. So here, about 7 minutes into the movie, is where we get the last scene from the first movie, where the evil is going through the house and it hits him. And this time, though, we get Bruce Campbell's character Ash flying through the woods. Now, this is where Bruce Campbell tells you to start the movie. If you just finished the first one, says skip those first minutes, get to where he's shoved by the evil flying through the air, and the movie makes a lot more sense. I would argue there's some things that continuity still don't work, but it kind of does. So people that make this supercut, like back in the day, they would record all three movies on VHS.
The Book of the Dead is not burned.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of things that don't make any sense still, but whatever.
Right. But it seems to work. If you don't think about it too much, it seems to work.
Don't think about it. Don't still think about it too much is a good
So,
advice.
As he's flying back, he's thrown through some trees. He's spinning around 360 degrees. It took a whole day of shooting to film this, while everybody laughed as Ash was flipped over in all different directions to film this going. And they needed to find a really long straight road where they could just keep driving straight for a long time and then speed up the footage. But then he falls into water, and when he gets out of the water, he's a deadite. Then we see the sun comes up, and through the power of the sun, it makes the evil go away. And then Ash screams, and then he passes out.
Yeah, and then they give 5 different camera angles of him just lying on the ground for some reason.
They were trying to show off how amazing their camera techniques were.
I guess.
So hours later, he wakes up. He's looking at his surroundings. He gets back to the cabin. The old car is still parked there. And he realizes that the sun is what drove away the evil. And he wants to get out of there before nightfall. When he looks at the cabin, he sees this gigantic ghostly face that's like the size of the whole cabin that tells him to join him. And he gets in the car and he drives to the bridge. But the bridge, just like in the first one, is crumpled up. He screams, and this landscape looks so fake, like a matted picture where he's tiny in the corner.
Yeah.
And he sees that the sun's going down already.
Yeah, I guess he was asleep a long time next to that puddle.
He looks, and the evil's coming towards him, so he gets in the car and starts driving in reverse before he spins around. He's driving really fast back to the cabin. It turns dark really quickly, and the car hits a stump, and Ash flies through the windshield, and he lands on the ground in pain.
But he's fine.
Yeah, he could take a beating.
Oh boy, Kenny. Oh boy, Kenny.
He sees the evil still coming, so the evil breaks the windshield, and we notice that Ash is already on his feet, running towards the cabin. And he makes it in this cabin. We get this long one shot as he's trying to close doors, and it keeps chasing him. And we kind of get the layout of the entire cabin as he's running around the whole thing, which is neat, so that we can see where things should reside. And that whole time,
I'll be honest, I'm still confused of the layout of this cabin.
Yeah,
I was confused in the first one, and I'm confused still, but that's okay.
Well, interesting in the first one is that cellar was not built in the same place. So every time they cut to the cellar, they were in a different state.
I think what?
Like they filmed it in a different state.
Okay, well that makes a little bit more sense of why it was so confusing. But yeah, I was like, wait, what? Where are they? But that's okay.
So Ash eventually loses the evil by hiding in the trap door, and the evil in a funny like, oh, where'd he go? I guess I'll leave. Just leaves the cabin, assuming he's not there anymore. Then we see Ash come out from under the trap door.
I was like, what? So it has like eyes? Like it literally can see him?
Well, yeah, we don't know. It's some kind of spirit. And
it does seem that way. He hid behind something, and he's like, oh, I don't know. I guess he's not there anymore.
So then we get to a plane landing. This is where we meet Annie. She's exiting, and waiting for her is the assistant professor, Ed, who could tell they're in a romantic relationship with. She's very happy. She found some missing pages, and Ed notes that they haven't aged a day in the last 3,000 years, and Annie says that they might be older than that. Ed wants to know when they can start translating, and she says later that night when they get to their father's cabin. What's really funny in the scene is while they're in the foreground, their kitchen in the foreground, that's where your focus is. But if you look in the background, Rob Tapper, one of the people that worked on the first one and this movie as well, he comes in as a crewman trying to open the second door, and the entire long shot of them talking, he cannot get that door open. And the only thing that saves them is when they cut down to look at the pages and they cut back up, the door is just magically open because it was a different take. But they said in the commentary, a normal person would have just given up and walked away to try to make the scene work, but he just stood there trying to get that door open. It would not open for him, which I think is awesome. So Annie asks if everything's okay with her father, and Ed says it's not possible to speak with him since there's no phone at the cabin. And he asks if it is true that her father has a lead on the translation, and she says it might be nothing or it might be a portal to another world. And Ed loads Annie's massive luggage into the trunk of the car, and he's got a massive smile on his face. We cut back to Ash, who's in the living room, still sitting in a rocking chair when he hears something and looks up at a mounted deer head on the wall. He gets out of the chair, trying not to make a sound, and wants to check on sound in the other room. On the way there, he almost falls over from his injuries, and then he finds the piano that is playing by itself. And
in the beginning of the movie, he's playing the piano and Linda's dancing to the piano.
That's right.
Yeah, so now the piano's just playing by itself.
And that reminds him of Linda, and he pulls out the necklace to cry over Linda here. Ash
he's just like, oh, I guess the piano's playing. Oh, let me cry over the necklace, I guess.
I guess they want us to know he really cared about Linda.
Yeah, does he?
Does he? Right, does he? I don't know. We'll explore that more.
Okay.
Ash hears some wood that is boarded up one of the windows in the living room. It falls down and leaves enough for him to look out. He sees that cross that he used to mark Linda's grave is moving. And then Linda's headless body pops out of the ground and starts to dance in this claymation scene. And then her head starts to join
skeleton.
Her. Yeah, right?
It's a skeleton with a head, her head.
So fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in that grave, but she really decomposed.
Oh, yeah. But then he wakes up and it was a dream, and he's screaming, sitting there in the rocking chair. He seemed to lose his sanity, and he laughs and he screams. He looks out the window to see that it's still boarded up. Then Linda's head seems to fall from the ceiling into his lap. She says, "Hello, lover," and then bites his hand.
Yeah.
He puts her head into a vice to try to free the hand.
He just starts bashing the head to get it to release him.
He goes to the woodshed, puts her head in a vice so he could free his hand, and she taunts him about having Linda's soul. Ash reaches for the chainsaw, but where it should be, there's only a chalk outline of where it should be, and he barely has time to wonder where it is when Linda's deadite body bursts through the door, armed with a chainsaw. Ash is able to knock the chainsaw backwards, and it goes into her upper body and shoots blood all over his face. Then he pulls it out of her dead hands, and when he goes to use the chainsaw on Linda, her face is back to normal and begs him not to do it.
Yeah, but she's still a head, so...
She's still just a head, right? Yeah. He stops, but when the head returns to a deadite form, he cuts the head in half, which sprays blood all over the light bulb, and the room gets illuminated in red. Now, we don't see the scene here of the head getting chopped off with a chainsaw, but if you want to see it, 2013 Evil Dead has an interesting, crazy scene with a lot of blood going through a head.
Yeah, I guess this is a callback from the projector scene, right? Yes, that they got the blood. Although I really don't think if you got blood on anything, it would make the room red, but
But we saw it at work.
Yeah, that's true. It's some less work.
So now back in the cabin, Ash trades the chainsaw for a double-barrel shotgun. The rocking chair turns and starts rocking on its own. Ash isn't sure if he should shoot it or just try to stop it from rocking. It does stop before he touches it. Feeling funny in his head, he drops the gun and goes over to the mirror to look at himself. He tries to tell himself that everything's going to be okay, but then his own reflection jumps out of the mirror, reminds him that he just used a chainsaw on his own girlfriend and things are not going to be okay. Then his reflection starts choking him, but when he looks down, it's his own hands choking his throat, and there's no double. It's just his reflection in the mirror.
Is this showing that he's going crazy, or is it just showing that the evil spirit is messing with him?
I think it's messing with him.
Okay.
But it's comical because he tries to do a double take and trick the mirror, aha!
Yeah.
But it's all normal at this point. Then we get Annie and Ed driving up to the bridge, and this is where we find Jake putting up traffic blockades so that no one can use the bridge. When Annie asks why, he turns on the high beam lights to show that the bridge is destroyed. Annie asks if there's another road, and we hear Bobby Joe say, "There sure ain't no road." And then we turn to her and she spits. Jake, the actor that played Jake, when he auditioned for the role, they didn't think he was ugly enough.
Okay.
Until he goes, "Well, what if I had less teeth?" And he pulls out a denture and 4 teeth go missing, and they're like, perfect.
That's funny. So he really was missing
He
teeth?
was really missing those teeth. They're like, oh,
funny.
this is perfect. And it was his first motion picture role. Jake starts to say that there's a trail that him and Bobby Joe will take them through for a small fee. He starts to say $45, but Bobby Joe kicks him. He changes that to $100. And he says they'll agree if he carries her bags. And he looks in the car, sees a purse and the frame that has the missing pages, and says they got a deal. Jake laughs, so does Annie, and Ed has a knowing grin on his face. Ash still dealing with his evil hand here that was bit by Linda. It turned evil. I might have skipped over that.
Oh yeah, you didn't say anything about that.
I didn't say anything about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just his hand. So this doesn't make any sense to me. So he fully turned into a demon or whatever, which you keep calling Deadeye, but nobody's mentioned that yet. So
yeah,
I don't think they mention it till the very end of the movie. So at this point, you don't know. But it's just the demon or whatever has taken over him. But then now it's just his hand.
Right.
Because he got bit, whatever. Okay, fine. But
so,
yeah, sure.
So right before he meet for the bridge,
His hand is like attacking him.
his hand, grabs his own face. He holds it down where he begs for the evil to give him his hand back, and then he screams, "Give me my hand back!" But now when we cut back to him, he's trying to take it to the sink to wash the evil off of it.
Yes.
He puts his head down. He doesn't notice that the hand grabs a dish and starts smashing against his head. Somehow his hand has more power than him, and he grabs him, slams him everywhere, flips him over, like the strength of his hand is able to pull his whole body into the air, airborne, flip him over, and lands on the floor.
There's a lot of forgetting about physics in this movie.
Yeah, but it's definitely more humorous.
Yeah, for sure.
than the first one. So now he's on the floor. The hand uses 2 dishes and a potato to knock him out, and then he focuses on a butcher knife that's on the floor.
The amount of times that Ash gets knocked out, he must have some brain damage.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the smartest guy in the world.
I know,
anyway,
but
yeah.
you know, a concussion. If you get hit in the head so hard that you get knocked out, that means you definitely have a concussion. Which is not good. Your brain shouldn't be rattling around in your skull. That's not good.
Right. So while he's passed out, the hand starts to pull himself towards the knife on the floor, dragging his whole body. Right before it gets there, a knife goes through his hand, and we hear the hand scream in pain. The hand is voiced by Sam Raimi.
Funny.
Asks the hand who's laughing now. When he spots the chainsaw, he starts it up with his teeth and asks again, who's laughing now, while he cuts it off, and the blood goes all over his face. Although magically is kind of clean every time.
Yeah. He has like artistic splotches.
We see the group led by Bobby Joe coming through the trail, and Jake is in the rear, overloaded with a big luggage chest, complaining that he thought he was agreeing to carrying the small bags. Ash is trying to imprison his now hand by putting it in a bucket and weighing it down with 3 books, and the one on top is titled A Farewell to Arms.
Yeah, I know so too. So let me get this straight. This hand is so strong that it can carry his whole body, but a stack of books in a bucket, that's going to keep it.
Well, it
contained.
doesn't.
No,
it doesn't. Ash didn't think this through.
No.
But Ash duct tapes his hand with cloth to seal it. In the background, we see his hand
he's
like
getting
walking
gonna
away.
get infected.
Yeah, and then I guess he didn't disinfect it.
Well, I don't know. We didn't see. Maybe he did. Maybe he did.
So that we see in the background the hand's walking away, and then we hear a thud as it hits the wall, which frees it. Ash grabs the shotgun in an attempt to shoot the hand, and it scurries away into a mouse hole. And then Ash aims again. The hand tries to run, but gets caught in a mouse trap, which makes Ash laugh. Then the hand gives Ash the finger. The hand flees through the walls, and Ash listens, and he's able to shoot the wall, and we see blood trickle out. As Ash celebrates, this massive amount of blood just starts to pour all into the house. It's just blood flying everywhere. Apparently, this was the last thing they shot because they want to clean it up afterwards. And then they reverse the footage to show it like emptying, draining the blood back out. Ash tries to sit down in the chair, but it breaks. And then when the deer head on the wall comes to life and starts laughing at Ash, the lamp joins in, and then so do the bookshelves. And in an extreme close-up, we see Ash is going crazier and starts to laugh with them. He stands up and starts to dance in motion with the lamp, and the whole room is going nuts. Just as someone is at the door, Ash fires out of the door with 2 shots, which stop the whole room. But this is where you know, okay, this movie's definitely sillier
Yeah.
than the first movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Ash looks like he's waiting to see what will happen next. Then he realizes he needs to reload. He does reload, and then he goes to approach the door. And when he opens it, there's no one there at first. Then Jake jumps in, knocking the gun out of his hand. Ash is doing okay in the fight until Ed joins in. Bobby Joe comes in looking like she might have been hit by something, well, like door shrapnel, or she got shot.
I think she got grazed. Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
Annie enters, and she wonders where her parents are, and she sees the bloody chainsaw and assumes the worst. Annie starts to shake Ash, asking what he did to them, but he's unconscious, and he can't answer. What's funny is in this scene, when Ash is passed out this time, Jake kicks him while he's down. That scene had to be removed for the European release. Because kicking a man while they're unconscious is against the law, and they couldn't show it in footage. But apparently, cutting your girlfriend's head off with a shovel is not against the law. So that did not have to be released, which is ridiculous.
I guess they didn't want to show that that I don't know, that Jake is being bad. I don't know.
It's funny. Ed opens the trap door and they kick him in, sending him face down the stairs. He's awake for this in a comedic delivery fall. Before they close it, Bobby Joe comes over and says she hopes he rots down there, and then she spits, because that's what Bobby Joe does. Jake is tending to Bobby Joe's wound, and Ed is reporting that Annie's parents aren't there, but Annie points out that her father's belongings are there, like the tape recorder and the picture of her. She then plays more of the tape, and her father's reporting that after a few hours of having read from the Book of the Dead, he states that his wife Henrietta is a host of the Kandarian demon, and then he asks for forgiveness for unleashing evil on this earth, and he continues to say that Henrietta tried to kill him. He continues reporting on another day, which is October 1st, and says that Henrietta is dead, but he couldn't bring himself to dismember her, so he buried her in the cellar. Ash is able to hear this tape well and realizes right as Harry...
Yeah, the acoustics in this house are very confusing, because sometimes you really can hear everything that's going on, and sometimes someone screams and you just sleep right through it. But I mean, I guess not in this movie. No one's sleeping through it.
Maybe they're heavy sleepers.
Yeah.
Ash is able to hear the tape as well, and he realizes right as Henrietta's head pops out of the floor. Upstairs, the others hear Ash scream and think that someone must be down there with him. Standing up now, Henrietta says in a demonic voice that someone is in her fruit cellar, and Ash climbs the ladder begging to be let out. Annie frees him, but Jake says it's a trick, but I think he doesn't want to open it because he's scared. He doesn't want to open it.
I mean, he's smart. So you probably shouldn't open it.
Right. Jake struggles to open the lock, but mainly because Ash is shaking the door so much trying to break out. Right before Henrietta gets him, Ash is grabbed by his head and helped out of the cellar. The others get to see Henrietta in her new transformed effect, who is played by Sam Raimi's brother, Ted Raimi, which I recognize from the Spider-Man movies.
Oh, funny.
Like he works for J. Jonah Jameson as one of the guys in The Office.
Oh, I never noticed that. Well, I guess I don't know what he looks like. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Henrietta grabs Jake by the face, and then Ed starts to punch Henrietta. Ed is thrown back into the wall and is knocked out. Ash uses this moment to close the trapdoor on Henrietta's head and repeatedly stomps on it. This pops an eyeball out, sending it to Bobby Joe, who is screaming with her mouth open wide. The eyeball flies in the mouth.
Yeah,
I know.
gross.
I gagged too. And she swallows it, which, it still upsets me watching that scene to this day. Apparently, the eyeball was made out of gelatin, and so they had to keep it in the refrigerator all day until they were ready to use it. But they had a lot of them for backup. Ash is able to put the chain on while Jake jumps in, holding the trapdoor down until Henrietta calms down. Henrietta, at least in her first form, played by Ted Raimi, which is a promotion from the last film where he just played one of the fake ships. Ash adds wood to the fireplace and tells the group that there's something in the forest and that the witch in the cellar is only part of it. In a jump scare, Bobby Joe grabs Ash, asking for them to just get out of there. And when Ash tries to say the safest to leave during daytime, Jake jumps in to support Bobby Joe's argument.
Yeah, they keep calling her the witch for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know.
There's no one else is a witch.
Yeah, they don't.
Just
it's not like she casts spells.
No, she's just a demon like everybody else.
Exactly.
I don't know. Who can say?
They all hear a soothing voice singing lullabies from the cellar. All five people turn to look as Ed has regained consciousness to see the normal-looking Henrietta looking out of the massive gap in the trapdoor, which I swear she could have escaped from. Because that chain's not tight enough.
Until later when they can't get in or out of it.
The scene works on Annie when Henrietta asks her to unlock the chains quickly. Holds her by the arm, shakes his head no, and Henrietta tells her facts about her that only Henrietta would know. Annie proclaims that the thing in the cellar is not her mother. Then Ed jumps up now as a deadite, meaning that when he hit the wall earlier, it must have killed him. Ed hovers in the air, proclaiming that they are all spirits to the thing that once were and will be again, and they want what our characters have, which is life. And I don't think he is talking about the board game. Ed and Henrietta both start chanting "Dead by Dawn." Ed, which is funny, so he's dead-eyed Ed now. When he auditioned for the role, he did this really crazy evil voice, and he had this really wide grin that he did, which sold them on him doing it. And then when they put the prosthetics in, he had 3 rows of teeth, and he couldn't close his mouth. And he's like, I can't close my mouth. And they're like, that's fine. We don't need you to close your mouth. But he was stuck for hours with his mouth wide open, which is funny. There
was a lot less laughing in this movie.
There was a lot of laughing
in
this
movie. I guess the demons they're not having that good of a time in this one. They're having a great time in the last movie. They're laughing.
That's funny. Oh, no lie. Linda on the floor creeped me out. Still to this day creeps me out. Dead-eyed Ed starts to attack Bobby Joe and then attacks Jake. Jake is thrown up into the ceiling and his head breaks the light bulb. Ash uses... Still alive, sure. Ash uses this moment to run out the door, and Annie demands that he stay to help them and calls him a filthy coward. Ed tries to free Henrietta, and Ash runs back into the room with the axe, charging at Ed.
Let me just pause and say, sure. Ash is a filthy coward. You guys locked him in the cellar. In my opinion, he's right to abandon you, but he wasn't. Obviously, he wasn't abandoning them.
As Ash hacks away at Ed, green goo is thrown all over the walls and some gets on Annie. The 4 of them stand close wondering what is next. Now, they used green or blue in some scenes because they were trying not to get a rated R rating. No, we're trying for just a rated R rating.
Instead of NC-17?
Yeah, I think they were going to give
them that.
The amount
of blood?
Yeah, so they eventually released the film unrated because they couldn't convince them that it was only rated R. Which I think if you release this today...
It'd probably be PG-13.
It probably would be PG-13.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, but it's funny that the standards have definitely changed.
Yeah, for sure.
Jake and Bobby Joe appear to be cowering behind Ash while Annie is standing strong next to him, which to me shows that Annie is a strong character. Ed looks out the window and says that the trail that they used to get here is gone. Strange noises start coming from all over, and then Jake asks what it is. Ash says it might be something trying to force its way into their world. The random noises turn into 4 large booms. Then the door to another room starts opening on its own as the booms continue. Ash says that they will all go there together, and Jake says that Ash can go alone because he's the curious one, and Bobby Joe agrees. Ash approaches the door and Annie grabs a lantern and says she'll go with him. When they get to the other room, Jake and Bobby Joe run in with a jump scare, and it looks like they were too afraid to be left in the living room after all, so they go with them. Just as Jake proclaims that there isn't anything there, the walls start to shake, sending picture frames to the floor and breaking the window. Then a shrieking projection of a head and hands appear in front of them, and the head belongs to Annie's father, Professor Raymond Noby, who tells her that the evil is after them, but that they can be saved with what is written in the pages from the Book of the Dead.
Yeah, it's the pages that Annie had brought with her.
Right.
The missing pages or whatever.
Professor Raymond is played by John Peakes, who was a drama and literature teacher in the area where they went to college. He was involved in various drama venues around Michigan and Michigan State, which is how the Sam Raimi and the group met him. So it's kind of cool to involve one of their professors, you know. As the image starts to fade, he tells them to recite the passage to stop the evil, save his soul and their own lives. Bobby Joe then tells Jake that he's holding her hand too tight, and Jake replies, "Baby, I ain't holding her hand." And he looks down to see that Ash's evil hand is now holding on to Bobby Joe. Bobby Joe panics and knocks the lantern out of Annie's hand, sending it to the floor, which puts it out, which I was glad he did not light it on fire.
Yeah.
When Annie relights the lantern, Jake notices that Bobby Joe is no longer there, and we cut to her screaming and running in the woods.
Yeah, I don't run in the woods.
Don't run in the woods.
Well,
she didn't watch the first movie. I guess it doesn't
really matter. I mean, you're probably going to die no matter what you do.
Right.
So, sure, run into those woods.
She finds a big old tree that comes to life, and then in a less graphic scene than the first movie.
She's just like wrapped up by the vines, but...
Yeah, then they drag her in and through the woods, and then she rams to a tree, presuming and killing her because it's the last time we see her in the movie.
Yeah. Or maybe she's alive. Who can say?
Who can say? Yeah, I don't know. While Annie is studying the pages, Jake is looking out in the woods, and he can see a creepy old tree.
Billy Joe living her best life as a demon.
Could be.
Just laughing away and dancing,
But they
Just
sent the
enjoying
evil
life.
back. They sent the evil back.
I don't know.
Spoiler
I
alert.
mean, maybe she's not, though.
She could be alive. Who
Maybe
knows?
it sucked the demon out of her and she woke up and she's like, I'm going to just go home.
Could be.
We just don't know.
While Annie is studying the pages, Jake is looking outside the woods and he can see a creepy old tree which appears to be staring back at him. Jake says that the group needs to find Bobby Joe, and Ash tells him that she went out in the woods. Jake can forget about her. Ash has a feeling, which Ash reports, as if someone walked over his grave, and then he notices in the books pictures of a man with a chainsaw as part of his arm and a shotgun in the other hand, where at the end of the shotgun looks like fire came out. The man is holding a chainsaw in the air. And it reports that in 1300 AD, a legend says that a man was called the hero from the sky and was prophesied to have destroyed evil. Ash replied that he didn't do a very good job. But I like all this foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Annie then finds two passages. Reciting the first passage will make the dark spirit manifest into the flesh, and Ash wants to know why they would want to do that. And he continues to say that reciting the second passage creates a kind of rift in time and space where they can force the physical manifestation into the rift. They hear the shotgun being snapped shut and see that Jake is pointing at him, demanding that they go help him to get Bobby Joe. Ash calls him an idiot and tells him that's where they're all going to get killed. With these pages, they at least have a chance. Jake grabs the pages and throws them into the cellar, saying they no longer have a choice. Outside, Jake hits
Well,
Ash.
they could still have a choice. They could go get him in the cellar.
Right?
But whatever.
So they go outside. Jake hits Ash with a rifle when they notice there's no trail. He's like, what do we do now? Then he shoves Annie to the ground. They see the evil coming to them. He's out there screaming Bobby Joe. The evil passes right by Jake and goes into Ash.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Ash jumps in a jump scare and grabs Jake because he's now dead-eyed again. As the evil made it to them, Ash lifts Jake into the air, throws him headfirst into a tree.
Mm-hmm. So hard that the tree trunk cracks.
It does.
Head first.
He's hard-headed, Margo.
Boy, boy.
Yeah, right. While Annie runs back into the cabin, Annie looks out the front and sees Ash, who tells her, join us, and she closes the front door at him.
Also, so that Jake makes them come with him, but then immediately knocks them out.
It's so annoying.
So why even bother? Why don't you just go out by yourself then? If what are
Right.
they helping you with? But whatever.
Annie arms herself with a ritualistic dagger, which you pointed out you didn't even notice was
Yeah,
in the movie to this point.
I don't think it was.
No, it just appeared.
I know, because I was thinking, oh, too bad he didn't have that dagger to stab Linda with earlier, or the mom or whatever. Yeah, apparently it's just sitting there the whole time.
Annie walks around the cabin looking for what is going to attack next when someone starts trying to get in the back door. As Jake walks in, Annie stabs him in the chest, not knowing who it was. And then she backs away, freaking out over Jake's blood all over her hands.
I cannot believe Jake survived that. Head burst into a tree so hard that it cracked. No way. Boy, oh boy. He's like a superhero.
Jake the superhero.
Yeah, he just pops back up. I'm fine.
Ash jump scares her from outside the window, trying to grab her. Annie runs to try to shut the door, but forgetting Jake is still lying in the doorway. Then she slams it twice, and Jake cries out in pain. Annie drags him inside. Ash runs around the house, slowed down by the branches on his way. Annie still didn't drag him far enough, so she now slams the door on his feet. She lifts his feet, closes the door, and Ash struggles with the screen door to come in. That was funny. She then tries to move Jake, who tells her she needs to go to the other room to get the axe, but first she needs to get the knife out of him, which is bad medical advice.
No, don't take knives out. Knives are keeping your blood in. Don't take the knives out. What's better? You have something plug in a hole, or you're going to create a big hole, right? Not to mention, you've already done damage sticking the knife in. Now you're going to do damage taking the knife back out. No, just leave the knife.
And it looks like it's sharp both directions, like the way it's shaped, like it'll cut you more coming out.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. But
Then she starts to drag him to the other room. He complains he can't breathe, and he screams that she hurry, and she tells him to shut up, or she screams, shut up!
Yeah.
Once in the
That
other
reminded
room,
me of Ash yelling at Linda, shut up! Shut up.
Once in the
Silly.
other room with the axe, she doesn't realize she placed him too close to the cellar door. Henrietta opens it and pulls Jake in. Annie struggles to hold on to Jake, but she can't hold him up there. In this deluge of blood spray on her, she keeps holding his
she's
feet,
really struggling to
or gallons and gallons of blood are spraying all over her.
How much longer is Jake gonna live anyway? He just got stabbed in the chest with this dagger, and then you pulled it out, so he's gonna probably die of hemorrhage. And then, I mean, just let him go. Let him go down into the cellar.
So in the original script, before they saw what the set was going to look like, they had it that when he got stabbed by the dagger, he landed by the trapdoor. But then there they realized that just doesn't work. So they had to create the scene where she drags him over and accidentally leaves him by the cellar.
Whoopsies.
Which is funny. Annie backs away as more blood keeps coming up and is suddenly grabbed by Deadite Ash, who picks her up, throws her against the wall, sending her onto the sofa, then onto the floor. He then notices Linda's necklace on the floor and starts to battle the evil inside of him as the emotions of the necklace remind him of Linda. Ash is no longer a Deadite, bringing even more relevance to this dang necklace.
Yeah, it's a magic necklace.
A magic necklace. Now
Capable powers of lassoing a book.
Yeah, right, exactly. Now Annie attacks Ash with an axe. He keeps trying to stop her, saying that he's all right. He sends her to the floor, but doesn't attack her. He tries to stand against the wall for a breather, but then the axe almost hits his head, and he stops Annie in the middle of the next attack. It disarms her and continues trying to convince her that he's all right, which she responds with, sure, but for how long?
Yeah, I mean, that's smart because the demon mom, whatever, was trying to trick her. I mean, like,
exactly.
Why would she believe him?
Yeah, the rules of what keeps them a Deadite and not.
Yeah,
it seems
very unclear. Yeah.
Annie then says if they're going to beat this thing, that they need those pages. Ash says, let's go carve a witch. And we see Henrietta laughing down there waiting for them. They go to the tool shed, and we have a montage scene. We're building Ash's arsenal, and this is where we get the Ash that is famous for the whole series going on. He builds the chainsaw so it has an opening so he can put it on his hand, which is his right hand. So it can be an extension of his arm. He sets it up so he could pull the chain from its hook to his chest so he could start it up one-handed. And we get the iconic line that he says for the first time, which is groovy, which he uses a lot in this franchise. Outside, it appears that a big tree is uprooting itself while Ash saws the trap door in half.
Yeah, this is funny. One, why can't they just unchain the trap door?
I don't know.
Plus, the opening's so wide. I think you just curl on in.
Oh, we also missed
Why did they cut like a hole for them to go through when you could just cut around where the chain's connected and open the whole thing?
Right.
They cut like a little hell.
We also missed what you found comical was the spinning of the shotgun to put away this vat.
He spins it around like it's a baton. Like, when did he get that skill?
I don't know.
I guess he just had it this whole time.
Well, and I guess because he sawed off the shotgun, it fits better in that strap on his back.
I don't know.
But it's awesome.
He like spins it around.
So he descends the stairs. He finds one page right away. And before he gets to the first door, we see the Freddy Krueger glove is hanging on the wall.
Yeah, I would have not noticed that if you hadn't pointed it out.
Well, it's a continuing throwback to how Wes Craven had made fun of Jaws, saying it wasn't scary.
Right. Yeah.
And then,
and the first one, it
keeps going back and forth.
That's
they do
funny.
that to each other for a while. He crawls through some pipes and he finds another page. And if you look closely, you notice that he grabs with his right hand, which is supposed to be severed. They said they had flipped the footage in this scene to make it work continuity, but then they didn't realize that like people would notice that the hand was the wrong hand. Then a skeleton jumps up at him and he finds the rest of the pages, and that skeleton is supposed to be Jake, who's already
he became a skeleton
already. Yeah,
I guess Linda and Jake, for some reason, they just become skeletons right away, whereas the mom, who's been dead for a really long time, she's not a skeleton. Who can say?
He tries to back away to the stairs. He throws up the pages to Annie, which is the most ridiculous. Really,
these are like loose leaf pages, and he like tosses them upwards, like it's a staircase upwards, and they just fly into her hands.
Yeah,
like,
it's
what?
It didn't make
they don't
any sense.
have any weight. How would that work?
As he's backing up the stairs, Henrietta grabs his feet, and who was hiding on the stairs, and sends him flying face first. And he's lucky he did not cut his head in half with that dang chainsaw. Annie starts the incantation. She hears Ash thrown. She stops to go investigate, which was like, don't stop.
Yeah, I know. Just keep
Annie,
reading it.
Keep reading. And Henrietta flies up and starts attacking her. Heroic music plays as Ash ascends to the ground level and whistles at Henrietta to get her attention. They fight, and Henrietta's neck grows to this massive claymation style effect, and she starts repeating.
It's like a snaky neck with a
weird
red head at the end.
Yeah. She keeps repeating that she will swallow his soul. As they fight, Ash seems to land punch after punch, wasn't able to land a hit with the chainsaw, and then Annie starts singing the lullaby that Henrietta sang earlier, which stops Henrietta's attack. Ash uses his opportunity to shove the chainsaw in Henrietta's back, then proceeds to chop off her arms and then her head with a long neck as it flies away. On the ground, the head keeps chanting that she will swallow his soul. Ash puts his foot on the head, puts the shotgun at it, pulls the trigger, and says, swallow this. Sparks fly everywhere. Ash blows on the barrels of the shotgun and spins it around twice before hosting.
Yeah, he's really spinning it.
Yeah,
he's really
baton twirler,
showing his baton skills.
Annie is crying. Ash goes over to comfort her, and she goes into his brace right before the outside starts attacking the house. And you notice, like,
yeah, they have like a little romantic moment. I'm like, wait, your significant other's just died,
right?
And apparently you love Linda so much that just glancing at her little necklace is bringing you back from being a demon. But you're like, well, she's dead, so I'm gonna move on to this other lady that I've known for 5 minutes or whatever.
Right. The mirror breaks in, the wall starts crashing inward, and they try to avoid getting taken. Annie says that she only read the first passage, which makes the evil become flesh, and she needs to read the second passage to open the rift back. A massive head comes through the wall, and Ash is so scared that part of his hair turns white, which is not there later.
No, I guess it turned brown again. It's like, don't look at it.
He tells Annie not to look at it and finish the passages, so they get rid of it. She starts reading the passage when she cries out in pain, and we see that Ash's evil hand has stabbed her in the back with a dagger.
It's okay. People live through that. We've seen that in this movie multiple times. It's
she
fine.
falls to the floor. Ash screams no. The branches come in like this giant arm and grab Ash as Annie finishes the passage, and we see the car sucked into the portal. We see this giant head come through the cabin, but it gets sucked away by the portal. That giant head, though, was so big they weren't able to take it with them. And years later, it was found by someone at a local haunted house amusement park thing. Yeah. They use it because it's like, why not?
Yeah,
like it's
true.
a giant evil head. That was pretty neat. As it gets sucked in, Ash crawls over to Annie, tells her that she did a good job, but she's lying there dead, we think.
Yeah.
And then it starts
the only
sucking.
person who dies of a wound.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going and going.
The wind.
Ash survived cutting his own hand off.
Sure.
Why not?
The portal sucks the door off the cabin. Ash grabs the wooden counter for the kitchen, and he's pulled to the door.
Yeah,
but
this rickety ass house is not keeping him.
And the wooden plank holds him in place for a little bit while he shouts, "How do you stop it?"
Yeah.
Then he's sucked into the portal. And this is where Bruce Campbell would tell you to stop watching the film if you were using the supercut. It's just pop in Army of Darkness at this point, because the rest of the film sort of follows it, but it changes the things because, again, they didn't have the rights to this movie when doing the third one.
Yeah. Oh, no, really?
Yes.
They had to redo it again?
They had to redo it again.
Oh, no.
There's a third actress playing Linda.
What?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
In the portal, we see fireworks and lightning, and then they cut to the car and Ash hitting the ground at the same time. Ash is instantly surrounded by knights.
Old-timey medieval knights.
Yes. Priest tells them to slay the beast. He is a deadite. And then...
Yeah, this is the first time we hear deadite.
Sure. Before then, it was Kandarian demon.
Or, yeah, just the demon or witch for some reason, just that one moment.
The priest tells them to slay him, and then this gargoyle comes in. They all start running and screaming. Ash stands...
It's like a flying gargoyle thing.
Yeah. Ash stands up, pulls the shotgun out, blows his head off in one shot. Then the knights, seeing what he has done, label him the one who has come from the sky, treat him like a savior, and Ash is now the one portrayed in the book, The Dead's pages, as the hero. And Ash screams no, because he doesn't want it to be true. And then we get the credits.
No! Do you think that inspired the scene in the third prequel, Star Wars prequel, when Darth Vader yells, no?
Could be. I don't know.
I'm just kidding. Why do you remind me of that? No.
That's funny.
You know, as people are wont to do, they just stand there yelling no as loud as possible. Anyway, the end.
That's too funny. The contacts that they wore, Bruce Campbell wore, right, when he was a Deadite, and throughout these movies, did not give the actors any vision at all. So when Bruce Campbell's a Deadite, Sam Raimi had to keep telling him to open his eyes because he didn't realize they were closed. He couldn't tell if his eyes were open or closed.
How did you not notice that?
Apparently he couldn't. Sam
Or
Raimi
they were
had to keep
just kind
reminding
of
him.
like, half open, but yeah.
In one of the screenings where they were showing this before we know how to wide release, the script supervisor came out crying because they left her out of the credits.
Aww.
And they had to go put her back in. They're like, we're so sorry. The cabin was recreated from photos they took from the first one, but because of the limitations of that, they rebuilt it, and it had a lot of different traits because they had to guess at some of it. The other thing I thought was cool is that I watched the special feature, which is like a movie length thing about fans of the show called Hell to the Deadites. And we got to meet a lot of the people who've gone around collecting all these signatures and all these trinkets from the movies, people that have gone to the actual original cabin and ripped off a piece of wood and then paid professionals to like carve Evil Dead and like the, all this information into it, which is funny. But you got some crazy collectors out there. The one part that I would say they spent a fifth of the movie on was this guy that kept planning a proposal for the woman he loved in front of one of the prop guys from the movie who owned all these props. So he proposed at the convention and he let him hold all these props, and they like had all this Evil Dead stuff because they're really into Evil Dead, which is interesting. And then they show the wedding, which the guy couldn't make it at, but he like phoned in like a congratulations to the wedding. And then when the movie ends, they said they got divorced a year later. And I'm like, what?
That's funny.
Like spent a fifth
Why
of the movie.
put that in the documentary? Just leave it out, right?
Right, I know. They spent a fifth of the movie about this, and then it turns out like they got divorced. I thought it was insane.
I guess Evil Dead is not a foundation for a marriage.
Right?
Just liking Evil Dead.
The eternal question, Margo. Do you know yet? Do you like the first one or the second one better?
I think this first one better.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that will go back and forth. It's very divisive. Some people like the humor with their horror, and some people just like the horror just like comedy.
I found the first one even a little bit humorous.
Yeah?
I think a lot of it is Bruce Campbell's like over the top acting, like
Sure.
gives it like a humorous bent to it. But also the horror elements are so over the top, like the blood spraying all over the place,
Sure.
and that it's kind of campy. Well, it is campy.
Yeah, right. I gotcha.
So yeah, I think I like the first one better.
While I like the horror
Plus,
in the
Cheryl's
first one,
not in this one. My favorite
Right.
character.
Right.
Well, she did survive this one, I guess, theoretically. Unless
Yes,
she just doesn't exist in the
theoretically.
universe.
No, she does, because in the TV show, she shows up.
Oh, okay, there
Having
you go.
survived the events of the cabin.
There you go.
She's in the TV show, which is interesting. I haven't finished that, though. I need to. There's more time travel in it.
Oh, funny.
Which I think is awesome. Anything else you want to say about it?
No. Anything you want to say?
No. I think
Wait,
we're good.
did you? Oh, you agreed that you like the first one better.
I like the first one better. I
Yeah.
like the horror of it more. And I like, to this day, creepy Linda scares me sitting on the floor laughing. She drives me crazy. Although the part that affects me the most in this one is that flying eyeball.
Ugh,
It's
it's
like,
gross.
like a gag every time. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, guys. And I hope you listen again.
Bye.
Bye.